virtual land that had just sold for a record-breaking $2.4 million. Brian, what do you think about that?
Man, that's crazy. You know, I didn't think that this could even be something that was possible. It kind of feels like you're buying, you know, I don't know. When you dive into this, it feels like you're buying like real estate, kind of like some of these like virtual reality games. You're actually owning a piece of the land. So this is interesting, man. We're $2.4 million for this property. Well, I don't know, Anthony. You tell me. What do you think about this thing?
Look, all I'm gonna say is that, guys, the virtual world is now unfolding before our eyes, upon our world. People have already been investing in this a year, 2 years ago. Decentraland, for example, which is one of the older ones, has been around since 2017. And look at the people capitalizing on this right now. And we're talking about Decentraland, 2017. That's going to be 4 years ago. Or it is 4 years ago. It's going to be 5 years. 5 years now. Hold up. 5 years, because we're about to be 2022. 5 years, this virtual world has been around. And now it's when these things are unfolding. It goes to tell you something. So there's money to be made. There's money to be made, but we have to study what is going on, how it works, how this plays out, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. But there is money there. People have been making money, and you just had a record plot of land sold for $2.4 million. Think about that. Think about that for a second. Way more than your average household in real life.
Yeah, man. Look, as the more I study and I get deep into this, I'm finding out that everything that I thought I knew was upside down. Because if you would tell me that $2.4 million I can buy some digital real estate in another world, I mean, you know, there's so many things, and I know people will.
This is wild.
It's wild, and I know people in the comments will probably go after me. They'll say, Brian, you know, and this is something I really, truly, I'm trying to learn myself and wrap my head around, that you can go to another, I guess these other like Decentraland, all these other
worlds,
metaverses that are out there.
Sandbox is another one.
Sandbox, all these different, I guess, metaverses, and then you're buying up digital assets in these places. Yep. What's going to be the one that's going to hold its most value? Is it Decentraland going to win?
Well, right now, Decentraland, Sandbox are supposed to be two of the stronger ones. I saw another one that came out that's supposedly catching steam, but I know Decentraland, Sandbox are the ones that are the two strongest holders in their space, and we're the ones most people are investing in. That's the one that most of the big name companies are investing in too. So you got companies like Atari, Nike. You have Adidas recently just invested as well in plots of land. So when you got names like that investing these lands, you kind of want to start paying attention to some of those, because those are some heavy hitters. And I know Disney World, actually, I forgot to mention this, Disney World is actually rolling out their own virtual world, which is pretty wild. And I read somewhere that Disney World, actually, you know what? We'll start pulling that up too. Disney World wants to incorporate that virtual world somehow with their actual park. So you feel like you're in their park, but you're also in a virtual park at the same time. Some crazy wild shit like that.
So the end game is so what's the end game, number one? Are they trying to create different universes so we can download our own digital avatar into that world?
I think it would be zombies.
Yeah, like zombies, or we're entering into this world. I'm trying to figure out like what is the end game, because I know right now this is early with all this land, and to me, I believe some of it is people washing their money from taxes, or maybe they might be trying to reduce their tax hit. They're moving it around to these creative assets that are being created.
Well, think about it. If you really think about it, like traditional artwork, people buy traditional artwork to be able to what?
Yeah, to move their money around.
Exactly. So this is just a form of buying a different type of artwork digitally instead of the traditional way. So it's if you think about it, it's the same shit. The only thing they're doing it in a different format, I guess you would say. It somehow for that angle. But look, I'm gonna read to you here real quick. This is a quote. I want to look this up. How Disney, Intel, and other old reliable stand to gain from the metaverse. So here, let me dive a little bit more into this. Where is it? I just had it. Let's see. Yeah, right here. Here we go. A whole new world. This is where it ties in with that. A whole new world. Disney is the latest firm to announce metaverse plans. All right. Basically, what they're saying is, again, like pretty much what I was telling you about. They want to incorporate it where you can actually be in the metaverse of Disney World, enjoy a very similar theme-like experience at a park without having to be at the park. And then they also want to do it where you can also have this virtual interaction at the park while you're being at the park. That's pretty wild. So think about it. For, let's say there's parents who can't afford taking their kids to Disney World, but they want to give their kids the Disney World experience from home. And let's say you go to Disney World and you've already gone millions of times to Disney, and now you can put on these things at Disney and you can see things popping up while you're at Disney World.
No, the Disney's market cap is gonna pass $5 trillion.
Bro, they just opened up an NFT project. They just sold millions on one of their NFT. They did it was the I forgot which collection. It was like a big collection of Disney memorabilia or stuff like that in their NFTs that they did, the Golden Collection or something like that it was called. But basically they were selling like it was actual Walt Disney holding Mickey's hand. That was like a golden trophy. One was of like Homer Simpson. They sold the whole Disney line. They're doing a Star Wars now. They're also doing a Marvel one, and they're selling it through Vivo. That's where they're using as a marketplace for their NFT collection. So it's pretty interesting how quickly these big companies are jumping. And keep in mind, guys, when you have a big name or a big company and you start an NFT project, your NFT project's going to blast off the roof, you know, because your name is so big. That's why it goes back to branding. If your brand is so strong, you can sell whatever the heck is out there and you will make money, right? Disney, that's the thing with a lot of these companies that are old. They're smart. They're bringing new people who have understanding of these new technologies, these new ways to make money. And what do? Disney's already been a big name for years. So what do? We have to jump into what's hot right now to keep our name relevant. Same thing with all these other companies. Nike, jump into what's hot, keep ourselves relevant. Atari, jump into what's hot, keep ourselves relevant. Adidas, jump into what's hot, keep ourselves relevant. These companies have been around for years, guys, but look at what they do every single few decades. They adjust, they adapt, they adjust, they adapt.
I think what's going to happen, man, we're going to fall into where the physical world is going to become a luxury. And everybody's going to fall into what you just said. In Disney World, instead of you going to Disney World because you can't afford it, now they're going to start, corralling you into the digital space. Yeah. So now you go into these metaverses of Disney World. And then if you want to go to the physical Disney park, you're going to have to pay a premium, even more so. So I feel everything's going to go backwards. So digital is going to be the entryway, the least expensive way to enjoy, a physical, activity you used to do or real world activity you do. And then the real world, now that's going to be a huge premium. I think that movie theaters or live actors or not live actors, live performances are going to be extremely more premium.
Look at this.
Than what is in the digital space.
I want to show you something real quick. Let me see if we can play on here. It's something that that Gary Vee said. I want to pop it up. Let me see if I can find it. I think I actually sent it to you. Did you actually see it? I think it was him talking about the NFTs and about somebody asking him it not being, something that you can feel and hold, something that's physical and tangible. Let me see if I can play it over here.
Digital aspect of it that you can't see it.
Well, you can't see a blue check on Instagram. I don't walk around the world with a blue check tattooed on my forehead, but everybody sees it. You can't see my 9 million followers on Instagram, or can you? I would argue the reverse. I would argue people can't see most of the fancy things you have in your house, that people can see more digital than they can real life. And that's the aha that just hit so many people on the other side of this screen.
Digital aspect of it that you can't.
Oh, hey, that's cool. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Gary Vee's a smart guy.
But it just goes to show you where things are moving with the whole digital space.
Yeah, I think it's something that the corporations, they want to keep you in there, because think about it, who's creating these verses, these corporations? So they want to control that.
Yeah, they want to take control of what's going to be popular. And you got to remember too, guys, like we've seen a lot of this stuff, very similar stuff, if you really think about it, go back to history. Like, look at these movies from the 90s, from the 80s, from the 2000s that have talked about virtual worlds. And, you know, look at video games, for example. We knew sometimes some of that was going to come. Something of that was going to come. Very similar to it. It's happening. We're living it right now. Like, we're living it right now. Like, this is like the real beginning of it. Like, the real beginning of it. Brian, are you going to be an investor?
In what, in digital real estate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got to learn more about it, man. I really got to dive into it. Right now, I got to see which one's going to be the market leader, if it's going to be Decentraland or if it's going to be Sandbox or whoever it is. You know, I'll probably most likely stake my claim in one of these metaverses because, you know, you don't want to be left out. But, you know, to say I'm going to put my whole livelihood into one of these, you know, digital assets, no, I'm not going to do that, but I'm definitely going to put something in there to see where it might go because it's interesting.
If some of those lands are selling for 37 to 50 cents, why not drop some money into it?
Yeah, I mean, putting some money into it 100% for sure to see. It's just, you know, it's just weird. You know, I kind of feel it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I got to do more research.
It's interesting. Look, last thing before we finish this part up, this is coming from Dan Fleshman. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who that is. If not, go check him out. Entrepreneur, influencer, very smart guy. I think he's invested in over 36 businesses. But he said, and this is coming from the person who made the 2.4 million. So last year, so this is what Dan said. Dan Fleshman said, last year my nephew asked me to match his $12,600 investment into 3 plots of virtual land, and Dan Fleshman said no. Today, Sasha Fleshman, his nephew, sold 1 Genesis plot on Axie Infinity, which is on another virtual world, for nearly $2.4 million. One of his 3 plots. So who knows what those other 2 plots of land are valued at? And he invested $12,600.
Wow.
Think about that. Brian, if you knew that back then, wouldn't you invest those $12,600?
I mean, yeah, man. I mean, I would have bought Bitcoin back in 2014, man.
But that's why people need to pay attention to this now. Because right now we're living in that infancy of what Bitcoin was before. For NFTs, for the virtual world, for all this stuff. But here's the difference. More people are more aware now, so more people are jumping on it faster. Back then, people weren't such aware of what Bitcoin and digital stuff was. Now people are more aware of it. So they see something new, they're like ants jumping all over it.
I think people's perspective or view of money is more of they're looking at it like it's gamified.
Video games does that as well.
So they're more, they don't really, I'm starting to see a lot of a trend where people are just putting their money in these different assets to see
what hits.
Remember, there's a lot of money in the economy right now. There's inflation going on. People are moving their cash around. A lot of crypto millionaires, a lot of crypto billionaires out there. I don't want to say that this is something that's concrete or for sure, but I think that when people are investing it, they have to be very, they have to be very, very cautious on where they're putting their money in because you can lose it very quickly.
Yeah. Well, I was reading some wild shit the other day. Now they're talking about I was reading on the news. What if there's like a random digital power surge or something like this, and you lose all your investment, or you lose all of this? I don't know. I was reading some stuff the other day.
Think about it. If the internet goes out, let's say there's an EMP, or there's a war and attack. They do that and they wipe out the internet and all the power grids. You're screwed. Where are you going to pull all that money out? You can't do anything. Think about that. So that's just like an idea for people to think about. Because if you're heavily investing in the digital world, you also got to be concerned.
You don't have access to your virtual world either.
It's something like that you got to be concerned about.
Doesn't mean don't invest in. I want to invest, but we got to see what to invest in.
You got to see what to invest in.
Yeah.
With the digital coins and the currency, it's something that you got to be. You don't put your money into it, but you don't want to be cautious too how you go about it.
You got to be well educated around what you're putting your money into.
Yes, because things can change very quickly.
Yes.